going on, everybody? We're back with today's question. This one says, I had a new client and no matter what I did, she could not relax. She felt it didn't work. And now I'm feeling deflated even though I know I hypnotize people and they get amazing results. So I'm not sure why this one has me feeling this way. Yeah, I can explain why it's having you feel this way for sure. Or at least have a good sense of it. And let's talk about relaxation and hypnosis. That's one thing. Let's talk about, and then more broadly, let's move into, moving from script dependence, technique dependence to something more organic, right? How do we create change in an organic way? And the principles of what that might look like. I think that's a good place to start. We should probably talk about keeping the client in mind as the primary thing. So this will be action-packed. So firstly, it has you feeling a certain way. Well, if you're in a state of mind where you're feeling quite dependent upon the technique or the induction to create the change, as opposed to having confidence that the client has the solution within them, we're just going to help create the space for that to manifest, for that to show up, come to the surface.
I want to work with you. Keep you in mind.
If that's your thinking, of course, if it doesn't work, you are going to start to question some stuff. That's natural. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of what prompted me to be so diligent in my practice and also to investigate and experiment the way that I have has been exactly that, not getting a result. That's probably been my biggest teacher. My most important teacher was having things not work with a client. So this is the path to mastery, right? It doesn't always feel good, but you get to grow so much through this process. So that's the first thing. Secondly, relaxation, and it didn't work. The relaxation's not going to solve her problem. The hypnosis might not solve it. Right? What's going to solve that client's problem is going to be something underneath the surface, because ultimately we want to move beyond the symptom. Okay, so I'm kind of touching on a lot of things all at once here. Let me try to work slowly. So script dependence and technique dependence. So we kind of talked about that as a frame of mind. Let me give you an example. When I started my clinic early on, I was doing market research and I came across someone and I just chatted with her for a while. She actually quit smoking. I checked in a few days later. I think I was going to show her like a pain control technique. Now my mindset going in that call was I just want to learn about what you're experiencing. That's all I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to sell that person. I wasn't trying to sneakily get clients or anything like that. Right? I actually wanted to learn about the market. So I was just thankful she showed up and I'm talking with her, and she said, 3 days later I check in, she said, I don't know what you did, but I haven't smoked since then. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know what was going on. And this became a reoccurring theme with folks. I remember that first one was very interesting to me. And then I checked in with her like a year and a half later, she still hasn't smoked. So that had nothing to do with relaxation. That had to do with her learning. And Milton Erickson famously said, hypnosis is nothing but a fast way to learn or something. I don't remember the exact quote. You get the idea. So let me explain it to you like this. So let's do this together. So let's put our hands up. And I want you to move them in a circle together, right? Move them in a circle together. We're going like this. Okay, now let's reverse that. Now, I want you to do this. Start to move them in opposite directions at the same time. So one hand's going to go this way, one hand's going to go that way. Right? Now, if you feel like you're doing it, I want you to look at your hands and notice you're probably not, right? And it's not that I'm ambidextrous, right? It's just, here's where this ties in. When I used to do martial arts, I was always very technique dependent. I would learn a move, then maybe you would spar someone with a different style, or maybe someone that was more senior at a higher rank, and they had answers to your techniques. I had a really cool teacher, right? And he showed me that when folks are doing a move with one hand, the other hand's kind of shut off, right? They're only conscious of the one hand. So if you can teach your body to be conscious of both hands, now it's like you're blocking and punching at the exact same time as somebody else. Now this is more of the idea of like an organic principle of movement, right? Like if I can become conscious of both these things, I can block and hit and do whatever I want. That person's one hand shutting off, so that you can start out doing people that are, they've been doing this for a long time. So learning the principles of what make a thing work in terms of a technique is one thing, because I could have learned like, okay, how do I do the tongue sound better or whatever the move is, or I could understand more organically how a human being operates. See? And when we have that information, there's a true limitlessness to what you're doing, and it's so abundant you don't even really need. You're not like thinking in terms of relaxation techniques, features, anything like that. You're literally just the individual responding to the individual. So that's something I want you to bear in mind. Now, I'm not one of these people that's going to say like classical, conventional stuff is ineffective. I've used that to help people, so I know it can work, right? Absolutely it can. I think there does reach a point where learning a series of slightly different trainings, right? If you look at these, a lot of times there's some minor variation. Doesn't mean the variation isn't important, right? Important distinctions between two different ways of working in a more conventional way, folks. Those things can be important, for sure, unquestionable. But at some point, I think that plays into like, it's like those are training wheels, right? Now we're going to, if we continue to study that type of thing, we're just readjusting the training wheels, whereas what we could do is just take them off. We could just take them off entirely, and you can ride that bike without any training wheels. So this is a different way of thinking that I want to share with you about this stuff. And I think it really makes this go away because it's not about whether or not it works in a session, right? The client's doing all of it. So there's a lot to recap here. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I mean, I always felt like I was doing my best work when I was lost with folks. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because maybe the conscious mind, yours is just so like out of it that the unconscious mind just takes over. I couldn't tell you, but the fastest work I've done with people was when I felt lost during a session. So it's quite the opposite reaction to what I think a lot of folks have if they're dependent on scripts, techniques, things like that, right? I don't care about that. We can just react to the individual in front of us. So I hope this helps a ton. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you're following me on the stuff because I do this live with people. It's very fun on social media, and I can't wait to hear from you all. Take care.